But as he sat there, spoon halfway to his mouth, a rock about the size of a marble came hurtling out of the darkness and landed directly at his feet. Sam froze. His pulse hammered against his ribs. He shined his flashlight into the trees, sweeping the beam left and right, searching for movement. Nothing. The silence was deafening. No footsteps, no rustling, just the crackling of the fire and the sound of his own ragged breathing. For the next 15 minutes, he sat motionless, scanning the darkness, his body tense with anticipation. But there were no more rocks, no sounds, just his paranoia gnawing at him. He forced himself to relax. It must have rolled down from somewhere. A coincidence, nothing more. He climbed into his sleeping bag, the tarp above him shifting slightly in the wind. He forced himself to close his eyes. Sleep would come, it had to. But sleep didn't last long. A sharp rustling of leaves jolted him awake. His blood ran cold. Someone, was walking through the trees about 30 or 40 feet away. Slow, deliberate steps. He held his breath, straining to listen. The footsteps were moving. But were they coming closer? No, they were fading. Whoever, or whatever it was, had moved away from his campsite. Relief flooded through him. It was probably just an animal, a coyote or a deer. Still, just to be sure, he reached for his flashlight. His fingers fumbled in the dark. It wasn't there. Panic clutched at his throat. He had placed it right next to him before falling asleep. He knew he had. Heart pounding, he sat up, frantically feeling around his sleeping bag. Nothing. Then out of the corner of his eye, he saw it. A faint glow, barely visible beyond the tree line. His flashlight, lying on the ground 10 meters away. Someone had taken it from beside him. Someone had been less than a foot away from where he lay, completely vulnerable, and moved his flashlight into the woods. His stomach lurched. It was a trap. They were trying to lure him away from the safety of his fire. Adrenaline surged through him. He grabbed his knife and forced himself to stay put. Do not go after the flashlight. Do not leave the fire. For the next several hours, he stood in the center of his campsite, gripping his blade, muscles coiled tight. Every time the fire dimmed, he heard it. Footsteps approaching cautiously, stopping just outside the fire's glow. They never got too close, but they were there, watching, waiting. By 3 a.m., his firewood was nearly gone. He knew what that meant. The only thing keeping them at bay was the light, and once it went out, a branch snapped. The footsteps came closer than ever before, stopping just behind the thickest part of the trees, barely 3 meters away. He couldn't see them. He could only feel them. The weight of their stare, the anticipation of something horrible about to happen. For 2 agonizing hours, he stood there, frozen, knife in hand, waiting for the inevitable. The thing in the trees never moved closer. It never spoke. It just waited. Then, as the first light of dawn began to seep through the trees, he heard it turn. The footsteps receded. It left. Only when the sun was fully up did he dare to move. He packed up in a frenzy, barely pausing to catch his breath. He ran. Not hiked. Ran back to the parking lot. Back to his car. Back to safety. He drove 20 miles before stopping at a gas station. His hands were still shaking as he got out, desperate to collect himself. As he turned to head inside, something caught his eye. On the back window of his dusty car, someone had scrawled a message with their finger. Sleep well. Sam never returned to the Superstition Mountains, and to this day, he still wonders what would have happened if he had gone after that flashlight.